So, today, Customer Farouk of Uganda is putting a caveat on Shaka Zulu. In other words, these are the real points in issues concerning about Shaka Zulu. So in this case, we are going to look at the reforms introduced by Shaka Zulu. In this kind of arrangement, when Shaka took political power, he introduced different reforms. So we needed to understand the reforms introduced by Shaka. So we are saying Shaka was born in 1783. He was a son of a minor chief of the Zulu called Senza Gakona, and his mother was Nandi. So in this kind of arrangement, we needed to understand the reforms in form of political, social, and economic reforms that were introduced by Shaka Zulu. Number one, Shaka introduced a standing army in the Zulu kingdom. We are saying today, Shaka introduced a standing army in the Zulu kingdom. This meant by this time, Shaka built a great army in his kingdom after realizing that he had so many enemies in his room. So by this, the army was meant to kill anybody who was rising up against his kingdom. Another one, he abolished the traditional long-throwing spears and replaced them with the short stabbing spears as a guide. So we are looking at changes introduced by Shaka. So we are realizing that the man introduced the short stabbing spears called assegai. Another one, Shaka introduced the concept of total warfare. In other surprise attacks. He could attack his enemies when they were not expecting. So it is this that made him to win over his enemies. That is Shaka Zulu. Another one, he made fighting more ruthless and ensured that warriors were not always left in a peace moment. So in this kind of arrangement, the man was so ruthless. He used to crush his enemies completely. He could not give them a chance to rise up and fight again. That was Shaka Zulu. He introduced a big shield to replace that of Dingiswayo. So we are seeing the reforms introduced by Shaka. In this kind of arrangement, I can say the man introduced big what? Shields. In other words, he wanted to be different from Dingiswayo. Another one, his soldiers were made to fight on barefooted. In this kind of arrangement, his soldiers were to fight barefooted. It is this that made them to move easily without anything disturbing them. These were the reforms introduced by Shaka Zulu. He maintained a high degree of discipline among his army. So by this time, the man maintained a high degree of discipline. The soldiers were supposed to listen to only one man, and that man was Shaka Zulu. The man we are looking at today, when his mother died, he ordered the burial of the mother with other 200 people who are still living because he didn't want the mother to be buried in the grave. That was Shaka Zulu. So we are looking at a great man. Another point we are saying today is the soldiers underwent high-level training. In other words, the man trained his soldiers so well. In other words, no one could manage by the time to defeat Shaka's soldiers. Warriors were not allowed to marry until 40 years of age. In this kind of arrangement, to build great fighting tactics, His soldiers were not allowed to marry until they were 40 years. In other words, they were supposed to keep his kingdom. In this kind of arrangement, Shaka formed a reserve army so that the kingdom would be strong at all times. The man created a reserve army. At a time when the war was very big, a reserve army was there to kill the opponents of Shaka Zulu. So the man came up with a reserve army. The conquered people were absorbed into the Zulu culture. Those people that were conquered by Shaka were meant to adopt the Zulu culture. You were meant to promote only one culture, and that was the Zulu what? Culture. In this kind of arrangement, they were supposed to leave their culture and adopt a new culture. It transformed the age regiments into military regiments. The man, it transformed the age regiments into military regiments. In other words, the soldiers were supposed to be highly trained, not just normal soldiers. Another point, each regiment was under military commander called the Induna. So in this kind of arrangement, we are looking at Shaka Zulu. The conquered girls and women worked in the field of agriculture to increase food production. The conquered girls were meant to carry out agriculture. This was meant to increase on food production. Changes rising up. Where in this kind of arrangement, we need to know the greatness of a man called the Shaka Zulu. He rewarded the soldiers for good performance. Those that performed well were rewarded. Were what? Rewarded. They were meant to be honored. So we are looking at the Shaka Zulu, a man of all seasons. Another one, Shaka used religion as an instrument of nation building. So we are saying today, the man used religion as an instrument of nation building, and he made himself the chief priest. The man was supposed to be the chief priest. That was Shaka Zulu. He abolished elder councils. In this kind of arrangement, elder councils were to be abolished. He was meant to promote greatness. He also abolished the useless social ceremonies. So in this kind of arrangement, the man abolished useless social ceremonies. They were meant to respect his decision. That was Shaka Zulu. He never allowed his Indunas to hold any public meeting without his permission. In other words, to organize a meeting, you were supposed to seek his what? His permission. That was the Shaka Zulu. Shaka employed women regiments to work as his spies in different barracks. In other words, the man employed the women to work as his what? Spies. They were supposed to spy and see those people that were decampaigning Shaka Zulu. A centralized wealth, cattle, was regarded as a state property. Cattle was a state what? Property. We are looking at the greatness of a man called Shaka. Shaka always carried out expansionist wars, especially against the ZULU. So believe by this time, the man did what you call expansionist wars. He was meant to expand the kingdom, the Zulu kingdom. In this kind of arrangement, it demanded tributes from the neighboring societies. The neighboring societies were meant to pay tributes. In this kind of arrangement, Shaka was promoting the greatness of the Zulu kingdom. So in this kind of arrangement, you were meant to praise only one man in the room, and that man was Shaka Zulu. Today, Customer Farouk of Uganda is putting a caveat on Shaka Zulu. In other words, these are the real points in issues concerning about Shaka Zulu. So in this case, we are going to look at the reforms introduced by Shaka Zulu. In this kind of arrangement, when